I mean, another interesting thing that hit the press last week was Regeneron antibody therapeutic. Now, where have we heard that from?
I think you may have mentioned it once or twice, Martin.
Well, 6 months ago, yeah. So I contacted Jacob, and I did say, I'm sorry that Centivax didn't obviously get the contract. He said he's going to reach out to the government, whether that's again or not, I don't know, regarding Centivax, because, I mean, we're talking 6 months. I've contacted MPs. I think I've gone beyond my duty as a citizen to, allow, certain representatives to know what is out there and the potential to fix things. A 20-minute cure for COVID. I find that unbelievable. Now, again, you are in the politics area. I do find that Centivax isn't on the stock market, but Regeneron is.
Okay.
So what people can make of that, I don't know. But maybe you can have a word with Rob or
suggesting money talks or business clout talks at the end of the day, doesn't it?
It does worry me. It's something I will bring up with any of the MPs when I bump into them, which I'm sure will happen as I start to become more and more mobile. So it's a worrying thing that I've been banging on about it for quite a long time. Whether people thought, he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's weird that, when I saw it come on the screen, I was a bit like, oh, okay. Is there something I've missed? Because, I have been busy, and then when it's a Regeneron, I was a little bit like, hang on, I think that's one of the ones with the stock market. And I was right. So, again, it's a sorry state of affairs.
Same product, different company.
Basically
the same.
Yeah. I mean, what will be interesting is I don't know about the test. I haven't got to that far into looking into all their stuff. But Centivax is 97% effective, as done by the American military scientist independent research facility. So you got to ask yourself what tests have been done on the Regeneron one, and I think they've been up there anyway, to be honest, like with Centivax. So but it's just interesting they're on the stock market. So yeah, it's just very worrying that I make 1 + 1 might make 3. I might be totally wrong, but it does hold out that because the biggest thing is if we've got somebody who's producing a drug, and is going to sell it basically just a little bit above cost, to one that's selling it at a massive cost, way above cost. Then we're paying out for something that, we can get cheaper. It's like if you went in, I mean, one of the biggest problems we have, or should I say local suppliers, is the big corporates like your Tesco's, your Sainsbury's. They can buy products in a lot cheaper. So by them having their products, they can make it cheaper, but it is more expensive. But this is the other way round, because we've got, we've actually got somebody who can produce a hell of a lot. Instead of it making it cheaper for us to have, they're going to put on a big, massive,
If they've got the monopoly, then they might employ that. And this is one of those situations where I don't think the free market should be left to its own devices. I think the government or regulators need to step in and say, hang on, this is a national crisis, a time of need. We'll let you cover your costs, but you're not going to make.
Well, especially if they've received a donation from the UK government as well. This is, the extraordinary part. I mean, I look at it as that they've received the money, and then all of a sudden they've been told, here's a load of money, go and research, obviously, a COVID vaccine, and then they're going to come back and sell it at a higher cost. It's like, well, shouldn't really be done. A bit like the banks, when we bailed out the banks back in 2008, it's they started paying themselves, the bankers a lot of money before they'd pay back the government, which wasn't right. But there we go. But that's one thing. So yeah, the government went ahead with its drug, didn't it? Which is then got recalled because one of the patients got ill, and now they're going through with this antibody. And I got to admit, antibody therapeutic is 20 minutes before it starts fighting. So if the government pushes hard and pushes quick, and I mean they're going for clinical trials, the same as the Centivax as well, it's not that much of a worry. It becomes what I said 6 months ago, in regards to it'll be available at the hospitals. I did have an argument with a Cambridge professor who deals with, for instance, dealing with antibodies and their construction and how they build them in the silos and stuff. And he will say there's an economic, impact or eco impact, as well as obviously it's quite expensive. But I said, how can you say it's quite expensive compared to how much money in the world has disappeared and how much we have to borrow and how much we have to pay on interest, the amount of business that has been lost. And he then threw out the card, I'm a professor at the Cambridge University. And then I said, well, come on a show then and we'll discuss the financials of it, the impact. And which he never got back to me. Interesting. So,
well, it's interesting. But you're right, the economy has shrunk by the largest amount in, I don't know how many decades.
We're in a recession.
And that is billions. That's in fact, that's probably tens or hundreds of billions that's been lost in the economy. So an investment of millions or even a billion or more than 1 billion in developing whatever medical technology will do the job of bringing it under control seems like it makes sense to me.
So would you agree, like, I think it was like 2 months ago when I told you, and I said it was 97% effective. I did alert all the MPs in the Buckinghamshire area. So would you agree that actually they should have pulled their finger out, done something about it, and contacted Centivax then? Because this, I personally think if they had done that, it would be, you wouldn't worry about catching it. It'd be like catching, I don't know, something where you go in, your tetanus jab. Go in every 5 years, tetanus jab. That's how I look at it. That's how, I see this being used. It's a bit like you are that ill, you need to be hospitalized. Okay, you need this drug. So how can it be going to a company that's on the stock market? I find unbelievable. And the amount of money that has been wasted so far and lives that have been lost. It will be a question I ask our Prime Minister if I ever bump into him.
I think you should, yes. I mean, it does. I don't know the full facts and figures. I did do a bit of a look when you first mentioned it to me. But the thing that surprised me is why wasn't the government trying every possible avenue?
But they were.
Putting their eggs into a few baskets in terms of businesses that perhaps looked, the most economically strong or maybe shouted the loudest for their attention. Don't know.
It is wrong. It is wrong. And again, I'll take it up with our MPs as well. I will say, I've tweeted them. I've done what I can, and no reply. This total not going to reply to that. Just like, really? What? But again, Greg's got a few questions to answer when, I do bump into him.
He's talked to you for quite a long while. It's interesting that you're getting no response now, or when questions are a bit more challenging.
I mean, anybody who hasn't, obviously, if maybe you're watching this for the first time, especially Ben, I've not seen your name before. Go look at the channel. There's a load of stuff on there. One of them was obviously about the Discharge Act. Basically came on when 99% of the hospitals were, the patients in there were told to get out, basically. 50% went back to home. The other 49% went back to the social setting. So I did say to him, look, do you think the government has actually caused the COVID infections back to the social setting? Which he went, well, I can't deny that. So after that interview, it's been quite quiet. So I think
he maybe had his knuckles wrapped by the PM, because the PM, in response to that same sort of question, seemed to be blaming the care homes and blaming everyone but the government, who actually clearly directed that policy. Yeah,
I mean, it goes back to the Centivax thing where I said about Chris Whittier and all the other people on the board and the scientists, and I said, well, because you just educate them, maybe they don't know of Centivax, so educate them to this drug. Whether or not he did or didn't, we don't know. But obviously, Regeneron have educated. But weird, very weird. But again, he will bump into me at some point, and Rob has never ever got back to me and all the requests I've sent out. And his team did reach out once, but they never did after that. But we'll see. So we quickly move on, if you don't mind. First of all,